I was not supposed to come back. That's the first thought that stayed with me, even after my heart started beating again. I had been flying for over 32 years, thousands of hours in the sky. Storms, turbulence, engine failures, I had seen it all, or at least, I thought I had. That day started like any other. Clear sky, smooth takeoff, quiet cabin. Just another routine flight at 35,000 feet. But sometimes life doesn't warn you when it's about to change forever. I remember checking the instruments. Everything looked normal. The co-pilot was calm, passengers were relaxed. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, that felt wrong. And then, something strange happened. Not outside the plane, inside me. It started with a small pressure in my chest. Not pain, just a tightness. I ignored it. Pilots are trained to stay focused. You don't panic over small things. But the pressure grew, slowly, quietly, like something was wrapping around my heart. I took a deeper breath. It didn't help. My hands felt colder than usual. My vision, slightly blurred at the edges. I remember gripping the controls a little tighter, trying to stay normal, trying not to alarm anyone. "Are you okay, Captain?" my co-pilot asked. I nodded, but deep inside, I knew something wasn't right. The next moment, everything changed. The pressure in my chest suddenly exploded into pain, sharp, heavy, crushing, like someone had placed a massive weight on me. I couldn't breathe properly. My heartbeat started racing, then skipping. My ears filled with a low ringing sound. And then, silence. I don't remember falling. I don't remember losing control. But I remember this very clearly. The moment my body stopped, I was still aware. At first, I thought I had just fainted. But something felt different. Too quiet. Too still. There was no pain anymore. No weight. No fear. Just a strange calm. And then I realized something that should have been impossible. I could see, but not with my eyes. Below me, I saw the cockpit, the controls, the dashboard lights blinking, and there, slumped in the pilot's seat, was me. For a moment, I didn't understand. My mind tried to make sense of it, tried to deny it, but then I saw my co-pilot, panicking, shaking my body, calling my name again and again. That's when it hit me. I wasn't in my body anymore. I wish I could tell you I felt fear, but I didn't. That's the strange part. There was no panic, no confusion, just awareness. Like I had stepped outside of something heavy and suddenly felt light. I floated there, not moving, not thinking too fast, just watching. Time felt different. I don't know how long I stayed there. Seconds, minutes. It didn't feel like normal time. Then something else happened, something I still struggle to explain. The cockpit started fading, not disappearing instantly, just slowly losing its clarity, like mist covering glass. And behind that fading world, something else began to appear. At first, it was just darkness. Not scary darkness, not empty either, just deep, endless, quiet. I felt something pulling me, not forcefully, not aggressively, just gently, like a current in water. I didn't resist, because there was no reason to. And as I drifted further, the last thing I saw was my own body, still sitting there, lifeless. That should have terrified me, but instead, I felt something unexpected, relief. Maybe you've never felt that before, or maybe, deep down, you have. That moment when everything heavy inside you just disappears. No worries, no responsibilities, no past, no future, just existence. And then, I was no longer in the cockpit. I was somewhere else. A place I cannot describe with simple words, because it didn't look like a place. It felt like a state, dark, but not empty, silent, but not lonely. And then, I realized something even stranger. I was not alone. There was something there, not a person, not a shape, but a presence, watching, waiting. I couldn't see it clearly, but I could feel it. And the moment I became aware of it, everything changed again. The calm, started to shift. The silence became heavier, and a question formed inside me. A question I didn't think, but somehow knew. Am I supposed to be here? That's when the presence moved closer. Not physically, but I felt it. And suddenly, something impossible happened. I heard a voice, not with my ears, not like normal sound. It spoke directly inside me, clear, slow, unmistakable. Not yet. Those two words changed everything, because the moment I heard them, the darkness around me started reacting, like something had been decided. And for the first time since leaving my body, I felt something return. Not fear, not pain, something deeper. A sense that I was about to be sent back, but I didn't understand why. And more importantly, I didn't understand what that presence really was. Because just before everything shifted again, I felt something else. Something that didn't feel peaceful anymore. Something watching from even deeper within the darkness. Something that was not supposed to notice me, but did. And in that moment, for the very first time since I died, I felt a cold, unfamiliar fear. Because whatever that was, it wasn't the same presence that spoke to me. It was something else, something older, and it was aware that I was there. I did not have time to understand what I had just felt. The moment that second, darker awareness noticed me, everything began to pull away. Not gently this time, not peacefully. It was sudden, violent, like something had grabbed my existence and started dragging it backwards. The darkness collapsed, the silence shattered, and I felt myself falling. Not falling through air, but through something deeper, like I was being pulled through layers of reality itself. If you have ever had a dream where you fall suddenly, multiply that feeling by 100. But this was not a dream. I tried to hold on to that place. I don't know why. Maybe because part of me didn't want to leave. There was something there, something I had not fully understood yet. But whatever had said, "not yet," had already made the decision, and I had no control. As I was pulled back, I started hearing something again. At first, it was faint, distant, broken, voices. Real voices. "Captain, can you hear me?" "Stay with us, stay with us," my co-pilot. The sound grew louder, closer, more urgent, and suddenly I felt something I had completely forgotten. Pain. It hit me like a shock. Sharp, heavy, crushing. My chest burned. My lungs struggled. My heart, it felt like it was trying to restart and failing at the same time. Then, a violent jolt. My body jerked. Air rushed into my lungs like fire, and I came back. I opened my eyes. The cockpit lights blinded me. My co-pilot's face was right in front of mine. Pale, terrified. "You're back. You're back." His voice was shaking. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. My throat felt dry. My body felt heavy again, too heavy, like I had been forced back into something I no longer fit in. They later told me my heart had stopped for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But what I experienced did not feel like 5 minutes. It felt longer, much longer, as if time had no meaning there. The plane was stabilized. Emergency procedures were followed. They did everything right, but none of that mattered to me at that moment. Because even though I was back, something was wrong. Very wrong. I could still feel it, that place, that presence, and that other thing. It did not feel like it had completely let me go. At first, I thought it was just confusion. After all, I had just died. Anyone would feel disoriented. But this was different. Even as I sat there, trying to breathe normally, trying to regain control, I felt like I was not fully here. Like a part of me was still somewhere else, watching, listening, waiting. Days passed. Doctors ran tests, heart monitors, scans, everything. They said I was lucky, a miracle, but they didn't know what I knew. Something had happened to me, something I could not explain. At night, it became stronger, that feeling. I would wake up suddenly, heart racing, body cold, not from a nightmare, but from a memory. That darkness, that voice, and those words, "not yet." They echoed inside me, over and over. But what disturbed me more was what came after, that second presence. I tried to ignore it, tried to convince myself it was just my mind. But then, one night, something happened that changed everything. I was lying in bed. The room was completely dark, silent, and then I felt it. That same sensation, the one I had felt in that place, not outside, inside, like something had entered the space around me. I froze. I didn't move, didn't breathe deeply, just listened. And then I heard it, a whisper, not from the room, not from outside, from inside my mind. Soft, cold, unfamiliar. It did not sound like the first voice. This one felt different, heavier, older, and it said something I wish I had never heard. You saw too much. My entire body went cold. I sat up instantly, turned on the light. Nothing. The room was empty, but I knew. I was not imagining it, because the feeling stayed. That same presence was back. And this time, it did not feel calm. It felt aware, watching me, studying me, like I was not supposed to return. But somehow, I did. And now, something had noticed. Something that should have stayed hidden. From that night on, I was no longer just a man who survived death. I became someone who brought something back with him. And the worst part, I still didn't understand what it wanted or why. It chose me. I stopped sleeping properly after that night, not because I didn't want to sleep, but because I was afraid of what would happen if I did. At first, I tried to live normally. I went back to routine. Doctors cleared me. Airline management called me lucky. Some even called it a miracle. But deep inside, I knew something was following me. You might think I was imagining things, that my brain was reacting to trauma. I thought the same. I wanted it to be true. But then, it started happening in ways I could not ignore. Small things at first. Objects in my room, not exactly where I left them. Shadows, moving slightly when nothing else moved. Moments where the air felt heavier. And always, that feeling, like someone was standing just behind me, close, watching. I would turn around, nothing. But the feeling stayed. Days turned into weeks, and something inside me began to change. Not physically, but how I felt the world. It was like I could sense things I never noticed before. Rooms felt different. Some felt calm, others felt wrong. You know that feeling when you walk into a place and something just doesn't sit right? Imagine that, but stronger, clearer, constant. And every time I felt that same wrongness, it reminded me of that second presence, the one that noticed me in the darkness. I started asking myself a question I couldn't escape. What if it didn't just notice me? What if it followed me back? One evening, I decided to face it. I don't know why. Maybe I was tired of running. Maybe I needed answers. I sat alone in my living room, lights off, complete silence. I remember speaking out loud. My voice was steady, but my hands were not. If something is here, show yourself. Nothing happened at first, just silence. I almost laughed at myself, thought I had finally lost control. But then, the temperature in the room dropped, not slightly, suddenly, like someone had opened a door to a freezing place. My breath became visible. That's when I knew I had made a mistake. The air felt thick, heavy, and then that same feeling from that place wrapped around me again. It was here, not just a memory, not just a feeling, here. I couldn't see it clearly, but I didn't need to, because I could feel exactly where it was. Behind me. Close. Too close. Every instinct in my body told me not to turn around, but I did, slowly. My heart was pounding, my hands shaking, and as I turned, for a brief moment, I saw something. Not a face, not a body, a shape, darker than the darkness itself, almost like the absence of everything. It didn't move, didn't speak, but it was there, and it was aware of me. The moment our awareness connected, something hit me. Not physically, but inside my mind. Memories, not mine. Flashes of things I had never seen before. A vast darkness, endless, old, something waiting, watching. Not just me, others, many others. And then a realization hit me so hard I could barely breathe. That place I went to was not empty. It was observed. And whatever I had encountered was only a part of something much bigger, something I was never meant to notice. I stumbled back, fell to the ground. The shape was gone. The room returned to normal, warm again, silent again. But I was not the same, because now I understood something I didn't before. That first presence, the one that said, "Not yet." It wasn't just sending me back, it was protecting me from whatever that other thing was. And now that I had seen it, felt it, it knew me, not just as a man, but as someone who had crossed a boundary and returned. After that night, everything became clearer. This was not random. There was a reason I came back, a reason I was shown what I saw, and a reason that thing did not want me here. Because somehow, without understanding how, I had taken something with me. Not an object, not a memory, something deeper, something it wanted back. And the more I thought about it, the more one question kept growing inside me. What exactly did I bring back from death? And why? Did it feel like time was running out? For days after that night, I barely spoke to anyone. I moved through life, but it didn't feel like life anymore. It felt like I was waiting for something I didn't understand. The presence never showed itself again, not like that, but I could still feel it, always, like a shadow, just outside my reach. At first, I thought I needed answers from doctors, so I went back. More tests, more scans. They said everything was normal, heart stable, brain stable, nothing unusual. I almost laughed when they said that, because everything felt unusual. Then I tried something else. I went to a quiet place, far from noise, far from people. An old chapel on the edge of town. I hadn't been there in years. I don't know why I chose that place. Maybe because something inside me hoped. If there was meaning to all of this, I might find it there. I sat alone, wooden bench, dim light. And for the first time since all of this began, I closed my eyes and didn't resist. I didn't ask questions, didn't call out. I just listened. At first, nothing. Then slowly, that same feeling returned. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was calm. The same calm I felt when I first left my body. And then, I felt it. The first presence. Not in front of me, not behind me, everywhere. Warm, still. And then, that voice again. Not loud, not forceful, just certain. You remember now. I didn't speak, but inside, I answered. I don't understand. There was a pause, not in time, but in feeling. And then, something happened. Not around me, inside me. It was like a door opened, and suddenly, everything made sense. Not in words, but in knowing. That place I went to was not meant for the living, but for a brief moment, I crossed into it. And when I did, something from there attached itself to me. Not by choice, by connection, because I became aware. And awareness changes everything. That second presence, the dark one, it didn't follow me randomly. It followed the connection, the trace of where I had been and what I had touched. I felt my chest tighten. Why me? The answer came instantly. Because you were not afraid. That surprised me. I had felt calm, yes, but not brave. And yet, in that place, fear never took control of me. And because of that, I stayed aware longer than I should have. Long enough to notice something I was never meant to notice. That deeper presence, that awareness, marked me. But then, something else became clear. That first presence was not just guiding me, it was shielding me, holding that connection, so the darker one could not fully reach me. I opened my eyes. The chapel looked the same, but I was not, because now I understood the truth. I didn't just come back to live. I came back carrying a boundary, a line between two places, and as long as I am alive, that line stays intact. But if I break, if I give in to fear, if I lose control, that connection weakens, and whatever is waiting gets closer. That's why the voice said, "Not yet." Because it wasn't my time, but also because something needed me here to hold that line, to stay aware, to not forget. Since that day, my fear of death is gone, completely gone, because I know death is not the end. But I also know something else. Not everything beyond death is peaceful. Some things are not meant to be seen. And if you ever find yourself close to that edge, close to that silence, remember this: stay calm. Do not chase what you do not understand. And if something tells you, "Not yet," listen. Because sometimes coming back is not just a second chance at life. It is a responsibility, a role you never asked for, but were chosen to carry. As for me, I still fly sometimes, high above the clouds, and every now and then, when the sky is too quiet, I feel it again. Not the darkness, but the calm, the presence that brought me back, watching, waiting, and reminding me my time is not yet. But one day, it will be. And when that moment comes, I will not be afraid, because this time, I will know exactly where I am going.